The fluorescent lights of Technova Solutions' Seattle office hummed overhead as Camila Martinez pushed through another late night. Rain pelted against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the 14th floor, creating rivers of distortion across the city lights below. She'd been here since 7 a.m., and it was now past 11 p.m., a typical Tuesday. Still here, Cam, Marcus, the night security guard, poked his head into the server room. "You know me, Marcus. The code doesn't write itself." She managed a tired smile, her fingers never leaving the keyboard. For years, that's how long she'd been pouring her life into this company. When she joined as a junior developer, Technova was hemorrhaging money, their legacy systems failing to scale with client demands. The board had given them 6 months before pulling the plug. That's when Camila had proposed her solution, a complete system overhaul, built from scratch. They'd laughed at first. A 26-year-old woman with barely 2 years of experience wanting to architect their entire infrastructure. But when she'd presented her proof of concept, even Richard Brennan, the CEO, had to admit it was brilliant. "You need to get some sleep," her colleague Janet said, closing her laptop at the neighboring desk. "The merger presentation in until Friday. I know, but the authentication module has a vulnerability. I can't leave it exposed." Camilla's eyes remained fixed on the screen, lines of code reflecting in her glasses. Janet sighed. "You care more about this system than Brennan cares about his golf membership. And that's saying something." It was true. While others saw code as just instructions for machines, Camila saw poetry, elegant solutions to complex problems. Her system had saved Technova from bankruptcy, increasing efficiency by 340% and reducing operational costs by half. Major clients like Morrison Industries and Apex Financial had renewed their contracts specifically because of the stability her platform provided. Her phone buzzed, a text from her mother. "Mia, are you eating?" "It's late," Camila typed back quickly. "Yes, Mama. Just finishing up." Another lie. The empty energy drink cans and granola bar wrappers told the real story. As the clock struck midnight, she finally pushed back from her desk. The authentication fix was complete, tested, and deployed. Another crisis averted before it could begin. She gathered her things, her reflection in the dark window showing the exhaustion she felt, dark circles under brown eyes, her usually neat black hair escaping from its ponytail. "Night, Marcus," she called out as she passed the security desk. "Drive safe, Cam. Weather's getting worse." The parking garage was nearly empty, her 2018 Honda Civic looking lonely under the harsh lighting. As she drove through the rain-slicked streets of Seattle, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was changing at Technova. The hushed conversations that stopped when she entered rooms. The way Director of Operations Kevin Chen avoided eye contact during meetings. The sudden influx of consultants reviewing operational efficiency. Her apartment in Capitol Hill was small but cozy, filled with plants she somehow kept alive despite her schedule and second-hand furniture she'd lovingly restored. She collapsed onto her couch, laptop still in hand, and opened the system monitoring dashboard one more time. All green lights. Her baby was running perfectly. If only she'd known that in 72 hours, everything she'd built would be in jeopardy. Chapter 2. The fracture. Wednesday morning arrived too quickly. Camila had managed for hours of sleep, fueled by determination and her third cup of coffee by 9 a.m. The Technova office buzzed with unusual energy. Executives in expensive suits huddled in glass conference rooms, their expressions grave. "Hey, did you hear?" Janet whispered as Camila settled at her desk. "Brennan's son just finished his MBA at Wharton. Word is Daddy's bringing him into the company." Camila shrugged. "Good for him. As long as he stays out of tech operations, we'll be fine." She pulled up her task board, ready to tackle the day's challenges. The system needed updates to handle the upcoming Black Friday surge for their e-commerce clients. She'd already mapped out the scaling strategy, just needed to implement. Camila Martinez. She looked up to find Helen from HR standing beside her desk, her expression unreadable. "Could you come with me, please? Bring your laptop." The walk to HR felt like a funeral march. Camilla's mind raced through possibilities. Was there an issue with her code? Had she violated some policy? Her hands felt clammy as Helen closed the conference room door behind them. Kevin Chen was already there, along with Richard Brennan himself. The CEO's usually confident demeanor seemed forced, his smile not reaching his eyes. "Camila, please sit." Brennan gestured to a chair across from them. "First, I want to thank you for your incredible contributions to Teknova. Your system has been instrumental in our success. Has been." Past tense. Camilla's stomach dropped. However, Kevin jumped in, clearly uncomfortable. "We're entering a new phase of growth. We need to restructure our technical leadership to align with our expanding vision." "I don't understand," Camilla said, her voice steadier than she felt. "My performance reviews have been exceptional. The system is running flawlessly. We're about to handle the biggest traffic surge of the year." "This isn't about performance," Brennan interrupted. "It's about strategic direction. We're bringing in fresh leadership for the tech division. Someone who understands the bigger picture, the business side of things." "Who?" The word came out sharper than intended. Brennan straightened his tie. "My son, Connor. He's brilliant, top of his class at Wharton, internship at McKinsey. He has innovative ideas about streamlining our operations." Camila felt the blood drain from her face. "He has no technical experience. He doesn't know the system, the architecture, which is why we're offering you a generous severance package." Helen slid a folder across the table. 3 months' salary, continued health benefits through the end of the year. In exchange, you'll sign this NDA and non-compete agreement. "You're firing me." The words felt surreal. "I built this system from nothing. I know every line of code, every integration point. Black Friday is in 2 weeks. Connor has assured me he can handle it," Brennan said, his tone final. "He's bringing in his own team, real innovators. Sometimes, Camila, we need to let go of the old to embrace the new." The old. Her system, which had saved their company, was now the old. "I need to at least create documentation, do a knowledge transfer. That won't be necessary. Connor believes in learning by doing. Your access will be revoked at 5 p.m. today. Security will escort you out." The room spun. For years of her life, dismissed in a 10-minute meeting, she looked at Kevin, hoping for support, but he studied his hands like they contained the secrets of the universe. "This is a mistake," she said quietly, standing up. "That system is more complex than you realize. Without proper transition, the decision is final." Brennan's voice hardened. "I suggest you take the offer, Camila. It's quite generous, considering what? That she'd saved his company, that she'd sacrificed her personal life, her health, her everything for Teknova." She grabbed the folder without looking at it. "I'll need boxes for my things. Helen will provide them." Brennan stood, clearly eager to end this conversation. "We wish you the best in your future endeavors." As they filed out, leaving her alone with Helen, Camila felt numb. The HR manager's sympathetic look only made it worse. "I'm sorry, Camila, for what it's worth. I think you're brilliant. But sometimes nepotism wins." Camila finished. "I get it." Back at her desk, her colleague's stares burned into her back. Word traveled fast in tech companies. She methodically packed her belongings, the succulent Janet had given her, her favorite mug, the framed photo of her parents at her college graduation. "This is bullshit," Janet hissed, tears in her eyes. "You are the tech department." "Not anymore." Camila carefully wrapped the succulent. "Promise me something. Document everything you can about the system. Hide it if you have to. They're going to need it." "You think they'll crash and burn?" Camila thought about Connor Brennan, fresh from business school, thinking he could manage a system that handled millions of transactions daily. "I know they will." At 4:55 p.m., she sent her last email from her Teknova account, a professional goodbye to her team, thanking them for their support. At 5 p.m. sharp, her screen went black. Access revoked. Marcus looked pained as he escorted her to the parking garage. "This ain't right, Cam. You're the only one who stayed late enough to actually talk to me. Treated me like a person. Take care of yourself, Marcus." She loaded the last box into her car. "And maybe update your resume. If they're stupid enough to fire me, this place is going down." As she drove away from Teknova for the last time, Camila felt something shift inside her. The hurt was morphing into something else. Determination. They'd taken her job, but they couldn't take her knowledge, her skills, or her ideas. Her phone buzzed, a LinkedIn notification. 3 former clients had already reached out, having heard about her departure. Maybe this was just the beginning. Chapter 3. The Collapse 5 Days. That's all it took for Connor Brennan to destroy what Camila had spent for years building. She was sitting in her favorite coffee shop in Capitol Hill, laptop open to job listings, when her phone exploded with notifications. Janet, Marcus, even clients, all reaching out with variations of the same message. The system is down. Turn on channel 4. Janet's text read. Now, Camila flipped to the local news on her phone. The headline made her coffee cup freeze halfway to her lips. Major tech company Teknova suffers complete system failure. Millions in transactions lost. Her phone rang. Janet, Cam, it's worse than you think. Janet's voice was frantic. Connor decided the system architecture was unnecessarily complex. He brought in his buddy from B-School who claimed he could optimize everything. They deleted the entire code base to rebuild it from scratch. They what? Camila nearly shouted, drawing stares from other patrons. Deleted everything, backups, redundancies, all of it. Connor said keeping the old code would limit their innovative thinking. They pushed their new version live this morning without testing. It lasted exactly 37 minutes before crashing. Now nothing works. Client data is corrupted. Payment processing is down. Everything. Camila's mind raced. Morrison Industries alone processed $2 million daily through their system. Apex Financial managed pension funds for thousands. The backup protocols I built, Connor disabled them last week, said they were resource-intensive and outdated. Through the coffee shop window, Camila watched Seattle's usual drizzle turn into a downpour. Bidding. Morrison's legal team is already threatening to sue. Janet continued. Apex pulled their contract. The board called an emergency meeting. Cam, they're looking for you. Brennan personally called your old number 3 times. They have my severance agreement. I'm not their employee anymore. That's not stopping them from begging. Kevin Chen sent a LinkedIn message offering triple your old salary to come back as a consultant. Camila closed her laptop. Janet, I need you to do something for me. Check your personal email. Why oh my god. Cam, when did you send this? The email contained complete system documentation, architecture diagrams, and recovery protocols, everything Camila had quietly compiled in her final days, sent to Janet's personal account for safekeeping. Insurance, Camila said simply. I knew Connor would destroy it. Ego always does. You could save them with this. Name your price. Camila thought about the past 5 days. She'd grieved, raged, and then done what she always did, solve the problem. But not for them. For herself, they made their choice. I've made mine. What do you mean? Check your inbox again. Janet gasped. Phoenix Systems LLC. Cam, you started a company. Incorporated 3 days ago. I've been rebuilding the system my way, without budget constraints or bureaucratic interference. It's better, faster, more secure, and guess who just reached out to me directly? No way. Robert Morrison himself. Apparently, he never liked Brennan anyway. He wants to meet tomorrow to discuss alternative solutions to their current technical needs. Through the phone, Camila could hear chaos in the Teknova office, shouting, phones ringing, the sound of a company imploding. They're saying Connor just got into a screaming match with the CTO, Janet whispered. Blamed everyone but himself. Brennan's trying to do damage control, but investors are pulling out. Camila's laptop dinged. Another email. This one from Apex Financial's CEO. Subject line. Urgent. Seeking immediate technical partnership. I have to go, Camila said. I have a business to run. Cam. Wait. What should I do? It's chaos here. You still have that documentation. Yeah, then you have 2 choices. Be a hero and save the company that doesn't deserve it. Or or update your resume. Phoenix Systems is hiring, and I need someone I trust. That evening, Camila sat in her apartment, surrounded by whiteboards covered in system diagrams. Her new architecture was elegant, scalable, everything she'd wanted to build at Teknova, but couldn't do, to legacy constraints and bureaucratic red tape. Her phone rang. Unknown number, but she recognized the area code. Technova's corporate line. She let it go to voicemail. Camila, this is Richard Brennan. His voice lacked its usual commanding tone. We need to talk. Connor has ... The situation is ... Please call me back. We're prepared to offer significant compensation for your assistance. Name your terms. She deleted the message. Another call, another voicemail. Ms. Martinez, this is Technova's legal department. We urgently need to discuss potential consulting arrangements. Delete. A text from Marcus. Hey Cam. Buildings in chaos. Connor just got escorted out by security. Threw a tablet at a wall. Brennan looks like he aged 10 years today. Karma's beautiful, ain't it? Camila smiled, then turned back to her code. Tomorrow, she'd meet with Morrison and Apex. By next week, she'd have signed contracts worth more than her annual salary at Technova. By next month, Phoenix Systems would be operational. They'd replaced her with the CEO's son. Now she was replacing them in the market. Chapter 4. The Phoenix 6 months later. Camila stood in her new office, a converted warehouse in Seattle's Sodo district, flooded with natural light from skylights she'd insisted on during renovation. Phoenix Systems had grown from her apartment-based startup to a team of 15, including Janet and 3 other former Technova developers who jumped ship during the chaos. Morrison's quarterly numbers just came in, Janet announced, practically bouncing with excitement. Transaction processing up 400%, zero downtime since we took over. They're recommending us to their entire industry network. Camila smiled, adjusting the Best Tech Startup 2024 award on her desk. One of 3 they'd won in the past month. Send Robert a thank you, and the bottle of that wine he likes. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, she could see the Seattle skyline, including the Technova building where she'd spent so many late nights. The company had survived Connor's disaster, barely. They'd lost 60% of their clients, laid off half their staff, and were now struggling to maintain basic operations with a patchwork system held together by contractors and prayers. You have a visitor, Marcus announced from the doorway. Yes, Marcus. She'd hired him as Phoenix's head of security and facilities. He'd cried when she'd offered him the job. Who is it? Richard Brennan. Camilla's hands stilled on her keyboard. She hadn't spoken to her former CEO since the day he'd fired her. Send him in. The man who entered looked nothing like the confident executive who dismissed her 6 months ago. His expensive suit couldn't hide the slumped shoulders, the gray creeping into his hair, the defeat in his eyes. Camila, he stood awkwardly by the door, clearly unsure of his welcome. Thank you for seeing me. You have 5 minutes. She didn't offer him a seat. He nodded, accepting the coldness. I came to apologize, and to ask for your help. My help. She leaned back in her chair. In her company. Last I heard, Connor had innovative ideas about streamlining operations. Brennan flinched. Connor ... is no longer with the company. Neither am I. Actually, the board voted me out last month. My son's actions, my decision to hire him. It destroyed everything. I'm aware. The tech industry is smaller than you think. Technova is dying. Camila, the engineers we have left are trying. But without your system, without your knowledge, we have maybe 2 months before complete shutdown, and you want me to save it. I want to sell it. To you. Camila blinked, certain she'd misheard. Excuse me. The board has authorized me to negotiate the sale of Technova's remaining assets and client relationships. You're the only one who understands the infrastructure, who has the capability to absorb our operations. Phoenix Systems could triple in size overnight. The same board that approved my termination? Yes. His voice was quiet. They know they made a mistake. I know I made a mistake. I let ego, mine and my son's, destroy something brilliant because I couldn't see past my own nepotism. Camila stood, walking to the window. Below, her employees were gathered in the break room, laughing over lunch. Janet was showing the new intern something on her screen. Marcus was watering the jungle of plants they'd accumulated. What makes you think I want Technova? I built something better, because you still care about the clients. The employees who had nothing to do with my stupidity. Because acquiring us would give you infrastructure, contracts, and market position that would take years to build organically. And double quotes he paused, because I think you're better than I was. You won't let innocent people suffer for my mistakes. She turned to face him. What's your asking price? The number he named was reasonable, desperate, even. It included all assets, client contracts, and intellectual property. More importantly, it included provisions for Technova's remaining employees. I'll need to see everything, full financials, system documentation, employee contracts, and I want Kevin Chen and the entire board to personally apologize to me. In writing, public record, done, and Connor. Brennan's face darkened. Connor is facing several lawsuits for the data breach his actions caused. His trust fund is gone, spent on legal fees. Last I heard, he was working at a cell phone store in Tacoma. Karma indeed. I'll have my lawyers review everything, Camila said. If the deal makes sense, we'll proceed. But understand this, Richard. I'm not doing this for you or Technova. I'm doing it for the clients who need stability and the employees who need jobs. I understand. And Camila, what you've built here, it's remarkable. The industry is watching Phoenix Systems. You've become everything I pretended Technova was. After he left, Camila sat in her office as the afternoon sun painted golden stripes across the floor. Her phone buzzed with a message from her mother. Mia, saw you on the news. My daughter, the CEO. Your father would be so proud. She thought about the journey, the late nights building something from nothing, the devastation of being discarded, the determination to rise again. They'd replaced her with the CEO's son, thinking an MBA could substitute for passion, knowledge, and genuine talent. Instead, they'd freed her to become something more. Hey boss, Janet knocked on the door. The team wants to know if we're ordering champagne for the Morrison contract celebration. Champagne? Camila smiled. And pizza. Good pizza. We're still a startup at heart. As her team gathered in the main workspace, laughing and planning their celebration, Camila pulled up her system dashboard. Every light green, every process running smoothly. Phoenix Systems wasn't just surviving, it was soaring. She thought about Connor Brennan, who deleted everything she'd built from scratch, so certain he knew better. He'd been right about one thing. Sometimes you did need to let go of the old to embrace the new. He just hadn't realized that in this story, he was the old. And Camila Martinez, daughter of immigrants, builder of digital empires, CEO of Phoenix Systems. She was the new. Through the warehouse windows, the setting sun painted the Seattle skyline in shades of gold and amber. Somewhere in that skyline, Technova was struggling to survive. A cautionary tale about hubris and the cost of undervaluing talent. But here, in a converted warehouse full of plants and laughter and brilliant minds working together, Phoenix Systems was writing a different story. One line of code at a time, because talent could be discarded by ego. But competence reconquered the market.